Okay friends, a couple videos ago we told you that we love Grenada so much because there's so many different bays that we can hop between. It helps us not feel so stuck. However, we got here July 1st and it is now mid-September and we're feeling a little stuck. So we're gonna go hop just up to the next island. It's technically still Grenada. We haven't been there in 5 years. It's away from all the people, and as much as we have loved every single person we have met in Grenada, there's just people everywhere, and we're so used to like being by ourselves in the Bahamas with not seeing anyone for days, and we want to feel like that again for a little bit.
I guess like a lot of what we like to do is like diving and spearfishing and surfing and wing foiling. Snorkeling's pretty cool. Like it's nice to jump in the water and snorkel a bit and stuff, but generally like we're not allowed to spearfish here. There's not really any good fish to spearfish anyway. It's just a little fished out. I mean, we see some big ones here and there, but we're allowed to spear lionfish here. But even lionfish, we saw one lionfish in like a bunch of hours and hours of diving. The wind's been pretty dead here. It gets light in the summer, but yeah, it was completely dead for a week or two, so haven't been able to get any foiling in. And yeah, no surf either, so just been feeling a little stagnant. Like all there is to do is like some boat projects and work on the computer, and there's always social stuff to do, but like we like socializing, but to a point. Like we generally like kind of being in small groups or to ourselves and like doing this fun stuff that we really like to do. So,
and we have made some amazing friends here. We've met so many amazing people. The hard thing about it, at least for me, is so many of the people here are retired or they're on a sabbatical or they're not working, and we are working, so there's lots of editing being done. But so in our free time we love to do physical activity and like adventurous activities, where a lot of sailors just in general love to go to like different happy hours and check out all this stuff. Like I'm not a big drinker, Billy likes his beer, but like at the end of the day I'd rather jump in the water and go for a dive or a surf or a fish or whatever than go sit some more and drink. That's just not our style, and that's like a huge culture in the sailing world that we try to avoid because it's so easy to get stuck in that, and I can feel it right away. If we go out to more than one happy hour a week where it's just like hours like of sitting and hanging out and drinking, like that's not how my body likes to be. So we gotta go find a remote island, be by ourselves for a little bit, hop in the water, and do something interesting. So you're gonna join us. And again, there is absolutely nothing wrong with enjoying a happy hour every day. No judgment at all. It's just not what we find most enjoyable. So that's just us. Got it on the first try. We made it. Okay, now it's the perfect time to tell you about today's video sponsor, Airlo. Airlo is the world's first eSIM store, and it's been a game changer for us.
With Airlo, you can download and install a digital data pack from over 200 different countries, so that as soon as you arrive, you're connected.
You guys know we have Wi-Fi on the boat, but as soon as we leave the boat, like we're about to, then we would be completely disconnected without Airlo.
So our old cell service plans were expensive when we were abroad, and our last one even cut us off because we were out of the United States for too long. So we signed up for the Island Hopper Pass, which works in 27 different Caribbean countries.
So now I can look up recipes while at the store, FaceTime Billy when I lose him.
Where'd you go? Oh, sorry. I got a little distracted.
And use maps while we're out exploring.
Airlo is trusted by over 10 million travelers. It's 100% digital, so no more SIM cards, and it saves time and money by avoiding roaming fees or the hassle of finding a local SIM in each country.
Just download the Airlo app, choose your eSIM plan, purchase, install, and activate it. Then turn it on when you arrive and you're good to go.
If you've got international travel plans coming up, use our code TULAS3 for $3 off your first eSIM.
That's TULAS 3 for $3 off. Thank you, Airlo, so much for sponsoring this video. So I showed you last week that we were pretty much completely out of groceries, and the whole goal was to get lobster to fill the freezer, yada yada yada. We only got enough lobster to eat that night for dinner, but these are normally filled with food and snacks. Right now we have 2 jars of pasta, no snacks, some nuts, some cookies. We have some quinoa notes, chickpeas, beets that have been with us since forever. The first time we left Florida. Same with the pumpkin. And then in our freezer we have flour filled with weevils that I'm trying to kill, cookie dough, bread, and squid for bait. And here we have some milk, some tuna that went bad a week ago that we're gonna use for bait, yogurt, wine, coconut water. We have a lot of drinks, but not much to actually eat. So we're gonna go to the grocery store right now before we head up to the next island and stock up. Feeling strong.
A lot of groceries. How much was that?
1,000 ECs.
So groceries here have been basically like American prices, I would say, right?
Yeah, but some can be more expensive and some can be cheaper.
Like if you're looking for American brands, like the good stuff of, I don't know,
Tortilla chips
or yeah, just like American branded stuff, then yeah, it's gonna be more than you would pay in the US. If you could just get like the generic IGA brand stuff, it's like about the same that you would pay in the US, or sometimes slightly cheaper.
One thing we've noticed to be like way more expensive is certain like fruits and vegetables, like apples for example. Haven't bought apples because they're like 20 American dollars for like a bushel of apples. Not a bushel, a bag of apples. Or like romaine lettuce can be like $15 if you go like the American brand, whereas if you get the local brand it's like $10. There's a watermelon guy here. Should we get a watermelon?
Yeah, watermelon is over $20 for a watermelon, US.
It sure is nicer than driving to the grocery store on the highway though. It's so pretty out. So many of you have probably been wondering if our dinghy gets like extremely hot, and the answer is yes. It is like on fire right now. Eventually I think we're gonna get chaps made for it, but she never looks dirty. She always looks clean with this color, so I don't know, give or take. Our butts burn, but
just a quick little splash of water and it's fine. This tuna for anything.
Cardboard brings cockroaches. We do not like cockroaches. So whenever we go grocery shopping, we literally take every single item out of the cardboard, put it into plastic Tupperware, and then get rid of the cardboard. Now, not to say that there's not already weevils in here, but cockroaches is one thing, weevils is another. If there are weevils, then at least the weevils are stuck in this single container.
So we're like halfway up the island right now. Grenada is like 15 miles long, something like that, give or take like 5 miles. And you can just start to make out some like bare areas where like trees got knocked down from Beryl. Just barely. I mean, it didn't get it that bad at all over here, but on the north side it did a bit more, so I'm sure we'll see some more bare spots. And then especially Ronde Island where we're going to, I'm sure we're gonna see some vegetation that got destroyed by the winds of Beryl. Nice and calm in the lee of the island, and we got a bunch of lures out, so hopefully we catch a fish on the way over there. They didn't have a ton of great looking meat at the grocery store. I mean, certainly we'd survive off of it, but yeah, hopefully we just catch a fish.
Fish-o!
No, it's
no?
not anymore. That was weird. It felt small, whatever it was. Very small.
Bummer.
Look ahead, the sea is coming. I know we've been through a lot, but just wait. Wait for better days to come and carry us like wind in our sails. Hold on tight, I can smell the shore, it's right in front of us. If we just hold on tight, this vision that I saw is getting closer every dawn. We are dreamers of the shore.
Sun is just setting, and there is the ferry that's actually going from Grenada over there over to Carriacou, which is basically the next habited island up this way. We had to do just one reset with the anchor because it was just a little bit of sand over like flat rock, so it was just skipping. But we got it to set on the second try.
We have two neighbors over here, this guy, and this is actually, you guys know them over there.
So that's actually Zatara over there. A lot of you guys saw a couple weeks ago, they were at the dock right next to us. We were doing all the waxing and stuff like that at the dock. So we have had a chance to chat a little bit with Keith and Renee on Zatara. So pretty cool to see those guys, and now we're anchored in the same spot. Maybe we'll see if Keith and Renee want to go diving or something. They already got a monster lobster somewhere. I don't know if it was here or somewhere else, but
This is the spot where 5 years ago we went and got some monster lobster with Catherine and Bill and Brandy, and we had an amazing little beach bonfire dinner right there. And we collected coconuts and made coconut pie, so maybe we can do that.
We didn't have a beach bonfire here.
Yes, we did, with the lobster. It was not Thanksgiving.
right
it was
there?
right on that beach. You keep telling me.
Thanksgiving was the other spot?
It was not Thanksgiving.
Yes, Thanksgiving was the other spot.
I don't remember Thanksgiving. I remember this spot with the lobster and climbing the coconut trees.
Okay.
Ooh, look at all that pink.
Wow, look at that sky. Oh yeah, here comes the bird. The bird sees it.
Okay, like we said, we haven't been back here in 5 years. Last time we were on this beach, it was filled with palm trees, filled with coconuts. And now all of those trees are just like broken in half or lost all of their fronds. It's wild. Really sad. Literally just like snapped in half. Does it go all the way through? Please be very careful.
So nuts.
We're
Yeah.
sinking.
I'll do it tomorrow.
You're
For
aware.
some-
You're aware that we're sinking.
Yes. For some reason, so I just did both engines. Our engines have a saltwater pump that pumps the seawater into the engine through a heat exchanger and then out the exhaust. And then that heat exchanger, it exchanges heat with the freshwater system, the coolant system. But the saltwater pump is driven by a belt on a pulley, and it uses an impeller. There's a shaft that goes through, and then there's a seal that keeps the water in the pump. And I just rebuilt both pumps because they were both starting to leak when we first got to Grenada, basically. But now this one is quickly leaking again. I replaced the seal, I replaced like a few components. One of the bearings on one of them even was getting corroded, so I replaced that.
Is it normal to do that just over a year?
Yeah, I mean, it is like, it's a pain to take off the pump, take it apart, and rebuild it, but just to like replace the seal is like very, very simple. So yeah, I don't know what's normal, but I don't complain about it doing it just over a year. What I am confused about is that this one is already leaking, and I know it's out that seal again. Like, there's no other. I looked at it very closely, just 1 or 2 months after I fully rebuilt it. So the only obvious thing that I think happened is I didn't make sure the shaft was like completely smooth and burr free. So maybe that shaft is just kind of made that seal leak because it wasn't completely perfectly smooth. So I'll take it apart again. I have the whole, like, all the seal and everything. I'll clean the shaft really good, sand it down a little bit, polish it, make sure it's like just perfectly smooth, then I'll put a new seal in.
And then we won't sink anymore.
And it won't sink anymore. I mean, I could close the seacock for the engine for the salt water, but it's kind of a pain to close. It's like on the sail drive, and it takes like, you gotta use a tool, and it takes like a minute to close. So if we had to, like, in the middle of the night start that engine, we'd be screwed. So it's just a drip, and that bilge pump's going off for a few seconds every 10 minutes or whatever. That'll be fine.
As long as we don't sink.
Put it on the list. The boat work never ends. So here's the water pump, and you can see this is the pulley where the belt spins it. You'll see there's an impeller in here, there's a seal, there's 1 or 2 bearings, I think 2 bearings in here, and a little O-ring right there. And I'll show you, we might not have to take it completely apart. We're not gonna have to take the bearings out, hopefully, because hopefully the water didn't get to them. So we gotta take the pump off this bracket, but I found if we open it first, because there's a nut here that we got to take off to get the pulley off, to get these bolts out to take it off the bracket. But this nut's hard to get off unless we get clamped down on this pulley. But I found another way. So there's the plate, and there's the impeller in there. So normally I would, and I did last time I rebuilt this water pump, which was only a month ago. I replaced the impeller. Like, it's so you already have it apart, might as well replace it. They're cheap parts. But I don't even think I'm gonna replace it this time because it's like less than a month old, less than, I don't know, there's only 10, 20 hours, maybe 30 hours on this impeller. And I don't know if this is gonna happen again. You don't have to take the whole pump off to replace this impeller. It's easier to replace. So I'm not gonna replace it for now. I'm just gonna reuse it. It looks perfectly fine. There's no cracks, no broken fins, nothing like that. If this was a normal rebuild, I certainly would replace it. So we'll use this on there, just like that. And then we can turn this nut on this side. And then we don't have to like clamp down on the pulley and like risk hurting that pulley. Pulley off. Now I did see a video on YouTube where a guy actually did replace a seal without doing anything else, without taking anything else apart. He even left the flywheel on, and he was just able to like pick the seal out from here and then, you know, lube the other one up and pop it right back in place, and that totally makes sense. I could see how you could do that. However, we have to clean this shaft up, make sure the shaft is perfectly smooth, so we're gonna take the whole thing out. take the whole thing apart. That's reverse threaded on there. Alright, yep, definitely gonna have to replace these bearings. Look how nasty that is. Water definitely got to the bearings and in between the two bearings, so that's no good. This will be all salt water. It felt alright in there, it still spun, but this is definitely spinning pretty rough. So this one feels good still, but I'll probably just replace it anyway, because water definitely got to it. There's our seal after I mangled it trying to get it out. But here's a little O-ring that goes in the middle here so that it's supposed to, from what the Yanmar Tech in Grenada told me, if this seal does start to leak and water does get past the seal onto the shaft, this is supposed to kind of sling off that water and block that water from making its way up the shaft into this part of the pump where the two bearings are, which are, again, like a more of a pain in the butt job if this seal starts to go bad. Place that as well, even though it looks fine. Like, it's, again, it's not like a proper O-ring that is sealing something. It's just like freely spinning on this. It's just like on this shaft, like in this open space. It's like slinging the water off the shaft. And I looked at the shaft already. And yeah, you can tell that there's definitely a little bit of groove in here. That could have been what started the seal going bad in the first place. You definitely tell there. So we're gonna have to like sand and then polish that down a bit and get it nice and flat. There's the big bearing. Alright. Second bearing's off. All the way. Alright, we just polished, we like even sanded down that shaft a little bit and polished it like crazy, and I think we got that groove out. I don't feel any texture there. So you see a little groove. This is actually where a ring goes. This is where like that spacer goes, so that's not important. This area is where that seal was, and you could see something, but you can't feel it at all. So that actually took quite a bit of work to get it back down and smooth, but hopefully that fixes our problem. Now we got to rebuild this thing, put some new bearings on, put a new seal in, put it all back together, and then we'll be good to go.
I'm gonna go in the water. Guys, I just saw the coolest thing ever, and I recorded it, but then the GoPro gave me an error. There was an octopus that was going like boom, 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 like fighting with a grouper, and then he swam and changed all kind of colors, and he let me get right next to him. And then, of course, I have no idea if it was recorded because the GoPro freaking broke again. So we just changed cameras to our other GoPro that's not working very well. Let's see if we can find him again.
So, when you put bearings back on, you're supposed to use like a press, like a hydraulic press. I'm sure you could use another type of press. But obviously we don't have that on the boat. I don't think it's very practical to have that on a small boat. So we just do the best we can without something like that. And I've done this plenty of times before, and if you're very careful, you can just tap it on. I have like full bearing surface from this socket. So we'll just kind of slowly, gently tap this thing on. So we don't destroy the bearing, but dang it, I had dirt in it from the stupid socket. That was dirty. Urgh. Alright, we're almost there. It feels like it's spinning as smooth as can be. We'll get this impeller back on here. Alright, ready to go back on. We got a whole bunch of invasive lionfish and 3 small lobster. That's a pretty good size. At least for those Spanish lobster.
A lot of lionfish.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know, well, first off, we're not allowed to spearfish in Grenada except for lionfish because they're invasive. Lionfish are native to like Asia somewhere. They're thought to have come to like the Caribbean, Bahamas, South Florida, Caribbean, probably from people like dumping them like because they had them in their fish tanks and they got too big and then they dumped them. But now they're invasive and they have like no natural predators and they eat a ton of the juvenile reef fish, so they really mess up the ecosystem. So it's really encouraged to kill lionfish, and they actually taste pretty good too, so we're happy to do that and eat them. We'll even kill the small ones just again to help eliminate the invasive species, but if they're too small we generally just like throw them in the water and don't eat them. Yeah, good target practice, good warm-ups. We definitely, our spear tip is like blunt because we missed a few and hit the rock behind. Sierra is the queen at filleting lionfish, and they're actually venomous. They have these venomous spines, you got to be careful. But Sierra's got the technique down. So I guess she'll be cleaning and I'll probably be cooking, right?
Yes, as long as I don't have to cook.
How is it?
Wow.
Good? How good? Does it need anything? Are you sure?
I love the mango and the tomatoes.
What's that?
Be nice to her. Wow, it's so colorful.
It is colorful, isn't it? I cooked it in butter.
Did we ever tell you guys when we were, after our last couple months in the Bahamas, we went and we did like our annual, like, I don't know, physical. And they took a bunch of blood work, just like your annual stuff. And it came back that we were super high in cholesterol, and the doctor told us we need to stop eating fried food and work out more. And I was like, lady, shouldn't you ask me if I do those things first? But turns out, apparently, which I still don't know if I believe, lobster and conch can be super high in cholesterol. And we were eating that pretty much 4 to 5 days a week for 3 months.
I've also heard that the markers for cholesterol, LDL and HDL, like aren't necessarily. What was the one that I was high in? Just one. You were high in both. I was high in LDL, I think.
No, I think I was only high in one. But
LDL?
it was so high that my overall was so high.
I've heard that the markers for those things aren't a great marker for like bad cholesterol, so it's not necessarily bad. Maybe I'm just justifying it. I'm no health expert.
Yeah, but we don't eat fried food.
Make sure you check out the link in the description, especially if you guys are traveling, you're looking for eSIMs. We've had an awesome experience using Airlo, so check them out. And thank you guys. Thank Airlo for sponsoring this video, and thank you guys for watching as always.